Hi and welcome back to our Greek 1A class. We are working through Mounce's exercises. We're on exercise 9 doing the translations. There are 11 additional translations and we're going to work through those somewhat faster than we did the first lot. I'm going to assume that you've grasped the method that we use and I'm going to go a little bit quicker than I have been going. Let's read question 11. Hode Jesus apekrithe to doulo, hai entolai tu theu pistai, kai agathai, ukakai. I'll read it again. Hode Jesus apekrithe to doulo, hai entolai tu theu pistai, kai agathai, ukakai. As usual, we're going to start by looking for a verb. You've learned the verb already. It is apekrithe. It means he answered. So I'll type that in. Before I proceed any further, let's quickly note the little conjunction de. It means and, also, or but, or now. So I'm going to translate it but. But, and then the verb apekrithe, he answered. Who answered? The answer is in the nominative case, ho Jesus. So we can change that to Jesus. But Jesus answered. To doulo, in the dative case, means the slave or the servant. Jesus answered to the slave or answered to the servant. We've seen this already, that the person being spoken to is often expressed by the dative case in Greek. So, hode Jesus apekrithe to doulo, but Jesus answered to the slave. And we're going to have the content of what he said. Here it is. Hai entolai tu theu pistai kai agathai, ukakai. Once again, within this sentence, we would look for the verb. When we look for a verb, we don't find one. So we're going to assume that this is a verbless sentence, which indeed it is, and the verb estin is assumed to be understood. The subject is hai entolai, the commandments tu theu of God. The commandments of God, hai entolai tu theu. Then we have a statement made about them. The verb is inferred, pistai, kai agathai, the commandments of God. Pistai is an adjective from pistos. It's agreeing with hai entolai, the commandments, in gender, number, and case, because it is feminine, plural, and nominative, and it means faithful. Kai agathai, similarly, declined, an adjective, and it means good. And then we have not, kakai, evil. So what we have in effect is a subject, hai entolai tu theu, and then a series of predicate adjectives that agree with entolai in number, gender, and case, and make a statement or a series of statements about it. So the commandments, I forgot to put the words of God. Hai entolai tu theu, the commandments of God, pistai kai agathai, are faithful and good, ukakai, not evil. Number 12. Ente trite hemera hoi poneroi ex elthon ek tu oiku tu theu. I read it again. Ente trite hemera hoi poneroi ex elthon ek tu oiku tu theu. The verb in the sentence is ex elthon, they went out. Who went out? The subject we find as a nominative. It's a nominative plural adjective actually. Poneros is an adjective meaning evil. Typically an adjective would modify a noun, but there is no noun here that is being modified. So the adjective poneros is being used as a noun or substantively. Hoi poneroi therefore means the evil ones or the evil men. Hoi poneroi ex elthon. Let's return to the front of the sentence. In, preposition, always takes the dative case, normally means in. Te trite hemera means the third day. Trite means third, hemera day. So in the third day, hoi poneroi, ex elthon, ek tu oiku tu theu, ek preposition meaning out of, takes the it takes the genitive case typically, and it means the house of God, tu oiku tu theu. So, ente trite emera hoi poneroi ex elthon ek tu oiku tu theu means something like, the evil men went out in the third day out of the house of God. That's rather awkward English. We can improve that by just saying, the evil men went out of the house of God. And in the third day, we could just as easily retain at the start of our sentence, but it would become on the third day. So on the third day, the evil men, or the evil ones, went out of the house of God. Number 13. Hoi ophthalmoi mu epi tus pistus. Hoi ophthalmoi mu epi tus pistus. Once again, we look for a verb, and once again, we don't find a verb. So we would assume that the verb is estin or asin, is or are. We would look for a nominative that would be the subject of this clause, and there it is, hoi ophthalmoi. Hoi ophthalmoi means the eyes. Hoi ophthalmoi mu, the eyes of me. Now we infer the verb are, because eyes are plural. If it was singular, we would put is. So, hoi ophthalmoi mu epi tus pistus. Epi means on. Tus pistus, pistos is the adjective meaning faithful. Once again, typically would modify a noun, but when there's no noun present, it's being used as a noun, and therefore it means the faithful ones. It's masculine accusative plural, so it could be the faithful ones or the faithful men. And I'll put ones in square brackets to indicate that it's not really expressed in the Greek text. And of course, the eyes of me is Greek. We would say in English, my eyes are on the faithful ones. Number 14. En tois logos David, tois eschatois, estin ho arithmos hion lewi, apo ekosaitus kai epano. This is a little bit of a tongue twister. Let me read it again. En tois logos David, tois eschatois, estin ho arithmos hion lewi, apo ekosaitus kai epano. Once again, we're going to look for the verb. There it is. It's the expressed version of is this time. So I'm going to put it is for the time being. Now we go and look for a subject, which is going to be in the nominative case. Here it is. Ho arithmos. Not sure if you've learned that word already. It means number, the number. So, ho arithmos, the number, ho arithmos hion lewi, the number of the sons of Levi. If we count all of this together, ho arithmos hion lewi, it's going to be the number of the sons of Levi. Lewi is Levi. Let's just continue along this clause. Apo ekosaitus. Apo means from. Ekosaitus, we are told, means 20 years old. So from 20 years old. Kai epano, again we are told, means and above. Then we have our verb is. Let's go back to the beginning of the sentence. En tois logos David, tois eschatois. What is this all about? Well, we know that en means in, and it takes a dative case. Tois logos is the words. It's dative plural in this instance. So the words, David. David is the name of David. It doesn't decline. Clearly, yeah, it's inferred to be a genitive, the words of David. And then tois eschatois, the last ones. Once again, as we saw in an example in the earlier exercises, if we were to take the word David out of the sentence, and we just had en tois logos tois escha tois, you can immediately recognize that that is a classical attributive adjective, just the normal one where you have article, noun, article, adjective, and it's equivalent to tois escha tois logos, the last words. So effectively, yeah, we have is in the last words of David. This would be how we would express it in English at least. So let's read our English. The number of the sons of Levi from 20 years old and above is in the last words of David. It's a little bit awkward in English, but you can pretty much get the idea of what the author is trying to say. Question number 15. Nun gar egnon hoti phobei ton theon su, kai uk epheso tu hiusu tu agapetu di eme. Let me read that again for you. Nun gar egnon hoti phobei ton theon su, kai uk epheso tu hiusu tu agapetu di eme. Gar, we know, is post-positive. It's a conjunction and it means for. So I'll write that in. I'm going to write in the little word nun as well. Nun over here means now, for now. Next we look for the verb. We find it very quickly. It is I know. We are given it, egnon, I know. Nun gar egnon, for now I know. Hoti typically introduces in direct or indirect speech. So hoti, that. Phobei, remember we're into a second clause, so there's the verb in the next clause, the clause after hoti, and it means you fear. We look for an expressed subject of phobei. We're not really expecting to find one because normally a second person verb simply has you as its subject. But in this case, we actually are going to find one because the pronoun su is expressed. And as you've learned by now, when the pronoun is expressed, it basically just means that there is some emphasis on it because it's not really necessary to make sense of the sentence. I'm going to highlight that as italics just to give some sense of the emphasis on you, that you fear. Direct object of fear, ton theon, that you fear God. Alright, and kai, uk epheso, we are told epheso means you did not spare, or you did not, you did not spare. Sorry, it doesn't mean you did not spare, I typed that wrong, it means you did spare. Uk epheso means you did not spare. My humble apologies for that. You did not spare to hiusu. Epheso is a verb that takes a direct object in the genitive case, and that's what we have here. To you, Su, your son, literally, you did not spare the son of you, but you know by now that we are going to express that as you did not spare your son. To agape tu, your son, the beloved. Agape tu is the beloved. It's standing in apposition to your son. So you did not spare the son, the beloved one. And, well, I guess we could even argue that it's standing in the attributive position. To you, to agape tu, that's probably more correct. You did not spare your beloved son. Di dia, the preposition, when used with the accusative case, typically has the sense of on account of or because of. So, because of me. You probably recognized already this is God talking to Abraham after he offered Isaac as a willing sacrifice. Nun gar egnon hoti phobeton theon su, kai uk epheso tu hiusu tu agapetu dieme. God says to him, for I know that you fear God, and you did not spare your beloved son because of me. Genoskomen, number 16. Genoskomen hoti eschate hora estin. Genoskomen hoti eschate era estin, ora estin. We start by looking for the verb. It is we know. Hoti is that. The clause following hoti is going to have its own verb, so we look for a verb again, and there it is, estin. So we're going to say ginoskommen hoti es hate hora estin, that it is. We would look for a subject in the nominative case. I'm going to give you a heads up that this particular sentence doesn't have one. What it does have is a predicate nominative. Here we have it, es hate hora. Es hate, you know, means last. It's an adjective. And here it is modifying hora, hour. It is last hour. Ginoskommen hoti es hate hora estin means we know that it is last hour, or in better English, the last hour. Number 17. He basileia he eme uk estin ek tu kosmu tutu. He basileia he eme uk estin ek tu kosmu tutu. The verb in this instance, once again, estin. It is. We go look for the subject. It's going to be something in the nominative case. There it is. He basileia. So the kingdom is. I might as well mention uk estin is of course the negative, so it would be not. So is not is what we're looking for. He basileia he eme, the kingdom, the of me one. So it means my kingdom. He basileia he eme, my kingdom. Uk estin is not. Ek tu kosmu tutu is not of the world, this one. So is not of this world. He basileia he eme uk estin ek tu kosmu tutu, my kingdom is not of this world. 18. Ean agapate me, tas entolas tas emas teresete. I'll read that again. Ean agapate me, tas entolas tas emas teresete. We have two clauses, the if clause with the ean and the clause following it, which would be the then clause, even though then is typically not expressed separately. So the verb in the first clause is you love. We are given that, and you know that ean means if. So if you love, what's the direct object of you love? Agapate. Answer, me. If you love me. Tas entolas, tas emas teresete. We look for the verb in this clause. There it is, teresete. You will keep. We look for a subject in the nominative case. There isn't one. Then we look for a direct object in the accusative case. Here it is, tas entolas, tas emas. This is feminine, accusative, plural. Tas entolas, the commandments, tas emas, mine. If you will keep my commandments. If you love me, you will keep my commandments. Ean agapate me, tas entolas, tas emas teresete. Number 19. Idu dedoka proprosopusu semeron ten zoen kai ton thanaton to agathon kai to kakon. I'll read that again for you. Idu dedoka proprosopusu semeron ten zoen kai ton thanaton to agathon kai to kakon. Idu means behold or lo. So let's just type it in. It's an expression of, it's like an interjection. Dedoka is the verb, and we are told it means I have set. Pro is a preposition which means before. Takes the genitive case. I have set before. Prosopusu, prosopon is face, and su is yours. So I've set before your face. Semeron means today. I've set before your face today. Ten zoen, kaiton, thanaton, the life and the death. To agathon, kaito, kakon. These are adjectives being used substantively as opposed to nouns themselves, but the meaning is clearly the good and the evil. Behold, I have set before your face today the life and the death, the good and the evil. We could understand the word way as being inserted, the way of life and death, the way of good and evil, or we could simply delete all the articles in the English translation, which would give us, behold, I have set before your face today life and death, good and evil. Idu de doka proprosopusu semeron, ten zoen kai ton thanaton to agathon kai to kakon. And last but not least, number 20. Hopistuon eston hion eche zoen ionion, hode apethon to hio uk hopsetai zoen, al he orge tu theu mene ep auton. I'll read that again. Hopistuon eston hion eche zoen ionion, hode apethon to hio uk hopsetai zoen, al he orge tu theu mene ep auton. Let's begin at the very beginning, as usual. We're going to begin by looking for a verb, and we found it over here. Eche, it means he has. We're going to look for the subject in the nominative case. It's another instance, as we saw in some earlier examples, where that's actually a participle instead of a noun. We are told it means the one who believes. Eston hion, means in the Son. So the subject of the sentence is the one who believes in the Son. Eche has, zoen ionion, has life eternal. Better English would be eternal life. We don't tend to switch those around. But, de, new sentence, de clearly meaning but, because it's contrasting the one who believes, and ho apethon, the one who does not believe. Let's again look for the verb first though. Hode apethon to hio uk opsetai. There it is. He will see. But he will see. It's got a negation, a negative. He will not see. What's the subject of he will not see? The answer is ho apethon to hio. And we are told this is the one who does not believe. To hio, the Son or in the Son. But the one who does not believe in the Son, uk opsetai, will not see what? Zoen, life. But Allah means but. It's a stronger version of but than de. So de sometimes means but it's not as strong. Allah is a very strong adversive. Allah, or al, he orge tu theu mene, here's the verb, but it remains. What remains? He orge tu theu, over here. He orge tu theu remains. Orge tu theu is the wrath of God. He orge tu theu mene, ep auton, ep means upon, and auton means him. Got it? Let's read that sentence a last time. Hopistuon eston hion eche zoen ionion, hode apethon to hio uk opsetai zoen, al he orge tu theu mene ep auton. The one who believes in the Son has life. Hopistuon eston hion eche zoen, eternal, ionion. New sentence. But the one who does not believe in the Son will not see life. Hode apethon to hio uk opsetai zoen. But the wrath of God remains on him. Al he orge tu theu mene ep auton. And that brings us to the end of the translation exercises for lesson 9. Continue to chip away at these, review them as many times as you need. It's important to understand not only what the right translation is, but exactly how we arrive at that from the Greek to the English. And hopefully seeing some of the translation exercises being done in real time is helpful in getting a feel for some of the idioms, the way things are done consistently in Greek. God bless you as you continue your study of the Greek language so that you can study His Word more accurately and effectively.